Now let's take a moment to understand the topic called nuclear reactor. The nuclear reactor is a device where the controlled fission chain reaction is carried out and the energy released is used to generate the electricity. So the nuclear reactor are extensively used for power production in nuclear power station. Let's see the parts and the working of nuclear reactor. Concrete radiation shielding. It generally provides the protection against radiation. Reactor core. Inside the reactor core, it contains fluid rods. In between fluid rods, there is the presence of moderators. On the top of the moderators, control rods are present, and then heat exchanger where actual exchange of heat take place, and then other supporting parts like gas blower, cold gas duct, hot gas duct, and inlet outlet tubings. Fuel rods. The fuel rods contain a fissile material like uranium 233, uranium 235, and plutonium 239. When these fissile material interact with thermal neutrons, it undergoes nuclear fission process and produce two small product nuclei along with the emission of three neutrons and enormous energy. The neutrons produced from primary nuclear fission now it triggers the other fissile material to carry out the nuclear fission process. Then moderators. The function of the moderator is to slow down the fast moving neutrons. Generally, the neutrons released from nuclear fission process contains very high energy. The high energy neutrons are typically escape from participating in nuclear fission process. So it was found that the fast moving neutrons have less tendency to carry out the nuclear fission process than slow moving neutrons. So this is where moderators were used. The most commonly used moderators are graphite, water, heavy water, and beryllium. When fast moving neutrons collide with low molecular weight molecule, it loses its energy at each and every collision and becomes more stable thermal neutrons and gain potential to carry out nuclear fission process. Then control rods. As we know that every single nuclear fission reaction will trigger the other fission process. This may result in nuclear fission chain reaction. If it is not controlled, this chain reaction will lead to an explosion at any point. In order to prevent such explosion, the control rods made up of boron or cadmium are generally used. The function of the control rod is to absorb the excess neutrons and make a while one single neutrons to carry out the nuclear fission process in more controlled manner. As a result of nuclear fission chain reaction, an enormous amount of heat energy is produced. This heat energy is then moved into heat exchanger which contains water circulation. The working of heat exchanger is to exchange the heat with water then get converted into steam. By this means, the hot gas gets converted into cold gas and again enter into core. The steam produced by heat exchanger drives a turbine which in turn rotates a coil of the generator to produce electricity. So in this way, the heat energies get converted into electrical energy.